what is the legacy of Bill Cosby?
Yeah, that is the question. At the heart of a new Showtime documentary series called We Need to Talk About Cosby. It explores the comedian's life from America's dad to alleged sexual predator.
Bill Cosby controlled every single aspect of that show. So I have no doubt in my mind that he chose what Dr. Huxtable's medical specialty would be.
You could have been a dentist, for crying out loud, but you weren't. You were an OBGYN.
His character bringing women to his home where he's going to examine them. It's outrageous.
The four-part docuseries by comedian and Emmy award-winning producer W. Kamau Bell takes an unfiltered look at the 1984 hit sitcom The Cosby Show. Bell analyzes Cosby's work and life by inviting fellow comedians, educators, journalists, and alleged Cosby survivors into candid conversations about their experiences with The Cosby Show and its star. Back in 2018, a jury convicted Cosby of aggravated indecent assault, but last year he became a free man once again after the Pennsylvania Supreme Court vacated the convictions because of a procedural issue, which also prevents him from being retried in this case. Now, dozens of Cosby's alleged survivors are sharing their personal experiences in this new documentary.
For more, let's bring in writer and executive producer W. Kamau Bell and Lili Bernard. Bell created the documentary series We Need to Talk About Cosby. It's airing on Showtime, by the way. And actor and artist Lili Bernard says Cosby assaulted her, though the comedian denies that allegation and all allegations at this point. Both of us join us now remotely. Kamau, I want to start with you because we in this business sometimes start along a project and then people think we're really smart because the project got even more interesting than it was when we began. And I think that's true for this docuseries because you began it before the charges against Cosby were vacated, the conviction on that technicality. So tell us how you got into it and then how things changed when the legal picture changed.
I mean, I think I got into it by being born in the early 70s and growing up in an America where Bill Cosby was everywhere, especially if you were a black kid. And, and he was one of my heroes. He's why I started doing stand-up comedy in large part. And, and then to find out about the allegations and then to wrestle with them myself and to believe the survivors. It was a conversation I was having with other people. It was in my head. And then once he went to prison, it felt like, well, his story is basically over. Maybe now we can have this conversation that felt loaded and that nobody really seemed to want to have publicly. Or at least the people who wanted to have it publicly had a hard time finding other people to have it. So the survivors certainly wanted to have it publicly. And, and it just sort of was going along and we asked people to be in it and many people said no. And I kept going, maybe this was a bad idea. But then I sat down with the survivors and realized I couldn't turn back. And then when he got out of prison, it was just like, we went too far deep to suddenly stop is really what happened. It felt like I'd heard from too many survivors to turn my back on them. So that's why we finished it off.
And Lili, speaking of survivors, you joined us last year after Cosby's release from prison. And we also see a moment in the documentary when you reflect on it. It's sort of a poignant moment. What was going through your mind then? And how do you feel now that some time has passed?
I was devastated, of course. It was a very personal letdown, but it just also made me think back to how the justice system really protects perpetrators and does not act in favor of women. And I do want to say that as a Black woman in particular and a Cuban immigrant whose heritage is African, Caribbean, and Chinese, it's against the status quo for those of us who are Black, Latin, and Asian to actually speak out against our rapists because we are so invested in protecting the image of our men of color that is criminalized, sexualized, and emasculated since the foundations of slavery. So for the third of us Black Cosby survivors, including myself, to have broken our silence and spoken out, for Kamau Bell to stand with us in solidarity is a tremendous display of courage.
Wow, that's
when so many in our community attack us and try to silence us with blaming and shaming.
Lili, that's a powerful point and interesting and subtlety to all this. Kamau, could you pick up on that and talk about your fears in beginning this conversation, where that came from and how you worked through them?
I mean, my fears seem so minute compared to what Lili goes through and other survivors go through. I just want to be clear about that. I just knew that this was not going to be a popular conversation through all of America and certainly through all aspects of the Black community. And I knew that I was putting myself out there. And then as we went through, the documentary became more personal because more people said no. And it became clear that, like, well, this is partially, I have to let the audience know we're looking through my lens. It's not just a lens. And so the more I put myself into it, the more I know I was putting myself on the front of this. And, you know, I would say overwhelmingly, the response has been great, specifically from survivors. And I really, you know, I've had a lot of conversation with survivors through this film about how they sort of told me, here's what's about to happen to you. Here's what's going to happen to you in culture. Here's what's going to happen to you. You're going to hear from people. And that's been super helpful to know that there are people out there who I can turn to in these moments who've already been through this. And also the battles they fought were way tougher than the ones that I might have to fight.
And Lili, obviously, you know, your journey has been a very difficult one here. What do you think about the documentary? Do you think it has successfully changed the conversation about Bill Cosby, around his influence on the culture, especially for people who've continued to support him?
Absolutely. I think it's a treasure. I think that the documentary is going to go down in the annals of history as a critically important journalistic work that holds a mirror to our American society and how we allow things like celebrity and idolatry to silence victims of sexual assault, such as myself. So I think it's a critically important work.
Lili, wow. Kamau, could you have the final word here, just reacting to what she said? I mean, that's pretty high praise from a person at the center, a survivor of Bill Cosby. I still have to say alleged. What's it like hearing her say that she thinks this will go down in journalistic history?
I mean, I'm going to let her speak it into existence, but it only exists because of her showing up and other survivors who showed up for the film. And really, at the end of the day, I was like, I wanted to make sure they felt like they had been heard in a way they hadn't been heard before. And so whether it goes down in journalistic history is whatever it is, but I just feel really humbled by the fact that the survivors feel like we got their stories out in a way that they typically have not gone out there. And, you know, when you watch the doc, you'll see that Lili is an incredible person, a complicated person, a nuanced person who can speak to lots of different parts of this and really couldn't have done it without her voice specifically.
Yeah, but it's your voice in narration. You're the questioner in the majority of the interviews, and so you created a space for all these people to come forward, Lili and many others. So W. Kamau Bell, congratulations on the work. Lili Bernard, thank you for coming forward in the docuseries and also here again with us.
Thanks to both of you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We Need to Talk About Cosby airs Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern on Showtime. You can also stream previous episodes. Showtime, by the way, division of Viacom CBS. Happy to say that.